Welcome to a vaguely familiar podcast. Today, with me, as always, is my co-host and brother, Bashaar Sayed, myself, Nazar Sayed. Today, we're doing a round of Backward Point because a lot of stuff has happened, and we will literally just get into it. Bashaar, I want to start with you real quick. What happened? Just give me a review, give me a summary of the past couple of weeks from the last time we did a Backward Point episode to now. I think we've gone through 3 different squad teams. We've gone through coach changes, gone through the national T20 happening. We've gone through England coming, not coming, New Zealand coming, not coming. Like a lot of ish has happened. And now we're like 5 days away from the World Cup. And we're doing a squad breakdown, but I just want to, for my mental clarity, just a review of what happened so I can catch up to the banter online.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot has happened. It's been a roller coaster of a journey as a Pakistan cricket fan, as it always is.
Always is, yeah.
Yeah, like our T20 eyes in West Indies got cancelled, and then New Zealand backed out, England backed out. So we were looking to use those series as a way of testing our combination and finding just the right form, of the players and who we can try, who's a good option, who can sustain the pressure on the international level. But all of those games got cancelled. And the Pakistan selection committee, they announced the team regardless. And I was shocked to the core. There were some selections that I was like, how can you do this?
It didn't make sense. And then so they backed some players up. Yeah. They were like, no, we put faith in you. And then literally like 2 days before, they're like, no, we're not. Actually, you know what? We're kidding about that. We're actually going to go with this senior player that we kind of were iffy about anyways. Yeah. And we're going to put them in the squad. But you know what? Next time.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it felt like. That's what always happens, right? And this is the whole selection committee it's such a joke, right? They've made like 4 changes from the initial squad that they've announced of the 15. And if you look back at our last ICC event, the 2019 World Cup, we made 3 changes to that as well. Right before the World Cup, Wahab kind of came out of nowhere. Amir, as always, got back into the team. Asif Ali was pressurized by the media to come in the team. So this is not something new. But at the same time, it's very, very sad. It's like, And the other reason why this episode is coming out so late is because we anticipated these changes to come. Yeah.
Right? We wanted to do a squad breakdown, I think, last week. And you told us no. Yeah. Things are about to move around. We need to wait. We need to be patient. Until the team is on the flight, we should not be doing a squad breakdown.
Yeah, October 10th is the deadline to absolutely make any last minute changes.
But I think this is pretty much final. Like
this is final. Nothing more. No more changes. Yeah. This is it.
It says, you know what? I thought under new leadership, under Ramiz Raja, I thought we would have been in a position where these type of blunders wouldn't happen, because Ramiz has been very vocal of these things as a commentator, as a pundit. But
he's also been very vocal on the inclusion of the oldies back into the team. Like, he has his YouTube channel. You can go back and see all of his previous videos. There's this one video that's going viral these days, and that's of him talking about Mohammad Hafiz and Shoab Malik. Yeah. He's like, oh, why do we need to bring back these 38-year-olds just to do some face saving? You should back the youngsters, and that's the total opposite of what's happened here.
So right? Do you want to talk about the elephant in the room? Do you want to talk about?
Are you talking about Azam Khan?
That's not. Oh, you gotta cut that out.
Okay, sorry.
You gotta cut that out.
Okay, but listen.
What?
He is a good player.
Yeah,
really good player of spin. But he needs to work on his fitness. It's simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, That's a fair criticism.
His selection was good. He is good against spinners. He actually has one of the highest strike rates against spin. Yeah. He has...
I saw him like just completely obliterate his opponents in the national T20 when he was against spin. Like he was just hitting them in the park. Yeah. It was insane.
I mean, he's a pure six hitter. He has the second most sixes from Pakistan by a Pakistani since 2020. Yeah. He's the only Pakistan player who has scored 1,000 T20 runs.
Yeah, I just want to let people know. 140. I just want people know who are watching on YouTube that the Excel sheets are out. Like, this is serious. We don't get any more serious than the Excel sheets. Like they're out right now, right?
We had to bring him out. We had no other choice.
We had to do it. So yeah, please continue.
Yeah,
the stats are on the Excel sheet.
Azam he's the only Pakistan player to score 1,000 T20 runs at a strike rate of 140 in the last 2 years.
Yep.
But my stance is not against his talent or his form. It's more against his fitness. Like if your career is as a professional sports person where your fitness, the way you look, affects the way you perform, you need to work on that.
Okay, here's a genuinely curious question. His dad owns Moin Khan Cricket Academy. It's literally named after him. Wasn't his dad ever like, you know what? Cut down on the gulab jamuns, bro. Hit the track. Let's cut some calories. Let's go on a calorie deficit. Like, if he needs a trainer, I got Qazi Akbar. This guy is a beast. He can train Azam in like literally 2 months, and this guy's ready for the World Cup. You're telling me they don't have coaches and they don't have staff enough to be like, you are physically unfit?
I mean, how hard is it to hire a personal trainer, go on a fitness diet for literally a few months, and you will see instant
radical
results.
changes.
You will see radical changes. How hard is it? And especially when this is your living, this is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it clearly shows that these people are not taking it seriously. I mean, just another example is Sharjeel Khan.
Yeah.
He got banned for spot fixing. He was overweight when he was playing for Pakistan.
Yeah.
He got banned and he comes back after 2 years and he's put on even more weight.
Looks like James Harden, bro.
Like, bro, what are you doing?
I mean, fitness has never ever been our strong suit ever, right? But this is modern cricket. This isn't 1992 cricket where Azam Khan can literally roll off the bench and like play for the national team. That's not how it's going to happen anymore.
Well, I agree with that. But then why do you put such fitness standards on other players? Like, oh, we have a yo-yo test. You need to pass this fitness test. You have to play these many matches. So either don't have these fitness standards in place for anybody, because even in the last World Cup, they had to compromise on fitness. Imad Wasim did not clear the fitness test for the last World Cup. And Inzamam had to come on the press conference and state that.
Yeah.
And state that Imad did not pass the test, but we were selecting him anyways because of his, his
experience,
form
repertoire. Yeah,
exactly.
That's ironic that Inzi had to come and say that.
It's just sad for all the other players who are working towards this stuff.
Yeah.
But in the end, if you're disregarding it totally,
either regulated for everyone or for no one. That's what you're trying to say, right? And that's a fair criticism.
Yeah. And when Azam Khan got selected, right, this is what I was thinking. Our first game is against India.
Boom.
Right? Imagine Azam Khan walking down alongside Virat Kohli for the national anthem. As a Pakistani, that is embarrassing for me. I cannot imagine Azam Khan and Virat. I'm not comparing them to, but I'm just saying that Virat Kohli has
this guy's like in his mid-30s, but he's like looking like a Greek god, and our boy is like in his teens, and he's like, "What are you doing, Azam?"
Yeah,
I know you listen to the podcast. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan. Like, he hits clean sixes.
Clean.
One of the biggest sixes you will ever see, right?
But you know who else does? Pandya. And Pandya is like 130 pounds.
Yeah.
6 foot. Needs a sikka in his pocket to like just stand in the field.
Yeah.
But he hits them too.
And even with the changes in the teams that was announced initially versus now, initially you see like a more like going out there and aggressive mindset.
Yeah.
Look at the middle order. We had Asif Ali, we had Azam Khan, we had Khustal Shah. So it looked like they had some sort of a plan to play spin and then just go full on out, right?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day in T20s, you only need 1 or 2 guys to really fire off to get a big score.
Yeah.
But now with the changes that they've made, Azam got dropped, Sarfaraz came back in, Khustal got pushed back to the reserves, and Fakhar Zaman came in.
Yep.
And then Shoab Malik came in for Sohaib Maqsood because he got injured.
Okay. You went over like a lot of things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Safi for a second.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about it.
What combination does Safi, is he a reserve for? Okay, let me organize my thoughts. Is Safi a reserve for Rizwan, or is Safi in the playing 11? What is his role? Because Azam was supposed to be a reserve for Rizwan, right?
And that's when they messed up. When they announced Azam as a backup wicketkeeper for Rizwan, that was their first mistake, because Azam really hasn't kept in a lot of games.
Yeah.
They changed his team. He was playing for Sindh under Sarfaraz, and they changed him to a different domestic team just so he could keep full time. Because at Sindh, Sarfaraz was the keeper.
100%. And there is no argument there. He has to be the keeper.
Right. And so to justify him being a backup wicketkeeper, that to change his team, kind of put him through some camps of, wicketkeepers. And now they've brought in Sarfaraz in place of Azam as a backup wicketkeeper. And if you ask me, this is purely a Babar Azam decision.
Yeah.
Because Babar Azam and Sarfaraz, they're friends, they're great mates.
Allies. I mean, they've been playing together. Like Babar Azam played under Saifi in the 2019 World Cup.
And Sarfaraz Ahmed is the second most successful T20 captain. He has the second most wins.
Yeah.
37 games he's captained, 29 games we've won. That is a 78% win percentage.
Woo!
Not even Kohli has that win percentage or those amount of wins, right? And Sarfaraz, he took Pakistan to the number 1 team.
And kept them there.
I'm still against the way they took him out. It was not his captaincy, but it was more of his personal performance.
Yeah.
But I think Babar wants Sarfaraz in the team as somebody who can motivate the team, who can be a good team man.
So what I was reading Musad Afzal's tweets, and he said that the only role that Sarfaraz has in this team could be as a mentor role because he doesn't have any space in the playing 11.
He doesn't, because you really can't have Malik, Hafiz, Sarfaraz
in the middle order. Then who's gonna hit the sixes, bro? This isn't an ODI where you need to build your innings. You build your innings in an over or 2 and you're out.
Exactly.
Right. So I don't understand Saifi coming into the team like that. If you wanted to give exposure, if you wanted to give experience to someone, Azam Khan would have been your best bet. So even though I'm a big Saifi supporter, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Secondly, who else did they remove? They removed Khushdal.
Khushdal got pushed back to the reserves, and then Fakhar Zaman
came. I don't mind that. What about you? So because in my opinion, Fakhar is a clean hitter. You put him one down.
But okay, here's the problem, right? So Fakhar opens. He used to open for Pakistan. He opens for his domestic team KP.
Yeah,
he also opens for Lahore Qalandar.
Yeah.
But you're trying to fit him in here as a lower order pinch hitter, as they did against England just this past summer.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be playing in a very different role.
Yeah.
But I think that's where they want to fit him in.
Yeah. You don't think he's gonna come one down?
I think they should.
That's the position I would want him to play.
I think they should change him based on who's bowling. Like if they have spinners going on, if they have leg spinners, he should go in and just smack it around, right? Because
you think Babar Azam's captaincy is that proactive that he's going to be like, they have spinners on, so we should send Fakhar. If they have pacers on, we should send Malik.
Well, I would hope that he would be like proactive to some sense.
That's wishful thinking, I think.
It is. Like, I mean, that's the other part that I think Pakistan is lacking a bit. We're lacking left-handers in the middle order.
Oh yeah, I heard a lot of people talk about that.
And a lot of teams you're gonna see. Well, every team has like this one mystery leg spinner, googly bowler.
Yeah.
And having too many righties in the middle order, well, it's gonna backfire to you.
Yeah.
So to have Fakhar sort of like a floating middle order batsman will be good. He can go one down, and if they're still in the power play, he can still utilize the power play.
Yeah,
or he can come in the middle overs, or even in the end and just smack it around.
Yeah, there was a term you brought up yesterday when we were talking about this a little bit. Low value wicket.
Yeah,
is that what Fakhar is going to be?
No, I think a low value wicket. An example of a low value wicket is more of like a Mohammad Nawaz.
Okay,
like you can send him up in the order.
If he gets out 3 balls, it doesn't matter.
It's fine. Like a perfect example of a low value wicket. I don't want to say this, but it's Shahid Afridi. If you look at the 2007 World T20 final, Afridi got out the first ball duck, which is not really that.
Wait, which one?
The 2007 World T20 final against
2007,
India,
okay.
In Johannesburg. So Afridi got out first ball, but him getting out first ball didn't really matter that much. On the other hand, Yunus Khan played about 30-40 balls, and that actually lowered our chances in winning because the run rate kept climbing. He wasn't scoring a lot of runs.
Yeah.
And him being on the crease actually, it hurt Pakistan's chances.
Yeah. That's bitter truth.
And in domestic cricket, you've seen the northern team use this a lot. They send Imad 1 down, 2 down. They send Nawaz. Nawaz has scored, by the way, the most sixes in this domestic tournament.
Yeah.
And he has the 5th most runs. So we're going to get into the whole Imad versus Nawaz debate as well. Like, who's the better option? Who should be playing? Who should not be playing? But before we get into that, we want to talk about just the few changes that were made. Sohaib Maqsood getting
the big
dropped.
one. That's the big one, right?
I think it's a big loss. I mean,
what kind of morale does someone have like Sohaib Maqsood, who has been performing consistently, and then he gets dropped, injured?
Sohaib Maqsood was actually.
What kind of injury do you have that you can't be back in the team for in 2 weeks? like this? Is this a career-threatening injury? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
not a basketball player that you like tore your Achilles.
Sohaib Maqsood was looking to retire 2 years ago.
That's how disheartened he was.
Yeah, that's how disheartened. Like he was just lost. He was in the wilderness, nowhere to be found. And then he came back, changed the way he played, and he single-handedly like drove Multan to winning the PSL. He scored 400 plus runs at a strike rate of 157.
Yeah.
He was the highest run scorer. He was the most impactful player, and he was also man of the tournament.
Yeah.
And even his performances in the last like year and a half in the T20 tournaments, they've been phenomenal. Like, he's been batting one down, really like punching the ball. He hits the ball
Clean.
hard.
Yeah.
It's a clean hitter.
Yep.
So, and the most important part of his stat in the PSL is that the second leg that he's played was all in the UAE.
Yeah.
And that's what the World Cup was.
Exactly.
So to have him a part of our team would have been a huge benefit. And to replace him with Shoab Malik.
You said it like Shoaib Akhtar right now.
Malik.
But
like, just replacing him with Shoaib Malik, I think Shoaib Malik has been running this PR campaign online through journalists.
I want you to go off. I want you to go off right now.
Through journalists, through, I don't know, like Twitter bots to get him back into the team.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't think, and the argument is that Shoaib Malik brings a lot of experience into the team.
Yeah.
But what has his experience brought in any ICC events in the last 10 years? He averages 18.37 and has no 50s in 25 matches he's played in the last 10 years of ICC global events.
Yeah.
What is the last game in an ICC tournament that you remember that Shoaib Malik won for Pakistan? I'll tell you. It was 2009. It was a Champions Trophy game against India. He scored 100. He hasn't played any match-winning knocks after that. What is the last game that you remember that Shoaib Malik won Pakistan? Like single-handedly, like Shoaib Malik. Thank God he was there. His experience was like so helpful. It was 3 years ago against Afghanistan in the Asia Cup.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
That was so foggy for me.
he hasn't been delivering to what his experiences are saying, right? We brought him back into the team for the last World Cup, the ODI World Cup, and we saw how badly he flopped.
And we had to bench him.
We had to bench him. We had to bring in Haris Sohaib. And Haris Sohaib, thank God, delivered against South Africa, New Zealand, and then the rest of the World Cup. So his experiences has not really benefited us in any of the past events. Like, past records don't justify that. Shoaib Malik's experiences have helped Pakistan by a great deal.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second. Because the counter argument is that he played really well in the National T20 Cup. He played really well in the Caribbean League, I think.
No, he scored 67 runs in 11 innings.
Okay, not the Caribbean League. The PSL was it.
Yeah, he did.
PSL and the National T20 Cup is what people are basically quoting as a margin. And then he has like the most runs for Pakistan. He's one of the top run getters in T20 ever.
Third highest run scorer of all time.
Yeah, so
11,000 runs.
Those are the stats. Those are the experience numbers that they're throwing at the wall and being like, this is why this sticks. What is your thought? What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't buy it.
My thought is that Babar Azam has been captain since the end of 2019.
Yeah.
And Shoaib Malik has not been part of the team since August of last year.
Okay.
If Babar Azam really valued his experience so much, why was Shoaib Malik not part of the team earlier? Like, why do we need to bring him last minute just before the World Cup?
Yeah, see, that's always a very, very suspicious prospect, especially related to Malik, because we've been. I don't want to get into that, but like it's very suspicious on his case to just enter the team like that. He's done this a few times, and whenever a senior player like that just randomly is needed by the team, my eyebrows are always raised by that. I'm like, I don't buy it.
And if you ask me,
especially to replace a player like Sohaib Maqsood, I'm like, if I had to invest in someone, I would invest in Sohaib Maqsood and lose the tournament rather than invest in a 37-year-old or 38-year-old Shoaib Malik. 39-year-old Shoaib Malik, who's like on the end of his career. Like, even if he F's up, if he screws up massively, he's out. Like
so that's what I'm saying. Bringing back Shoaib Malik in the team is a very defensive mindset.
Very defensive.
Right? If the Pakistan team does bad, you can just blame it on Hafiz and Malik, throw them on the team. We have another World Cup next year, and you can just bring back youngsters.
Yeah.
Which I think it's a negative mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But the team's been selected. Malik is part of the team.
Okay, so let's let's talk about like, because the MCU has multiverses, right? Let's talk about a situation where he wins the match against India.
I hope so.
A feat that has never happened in the history of those two rivalries. This rivalry, right? Pakistan has never won a game against India in any World Cups. They've tied, but they've never won. Malik pulls it off. Is his selection then justified?
Well, he has to outperform himself. Like he has to go above and beyond his abilities to really justify the decision that, you know, they picked him correctly. And
where does he sit on the batting order?
That's the other question. Like, where do you play him? If you have Hafiz 1 down, Malik 2 down, you know, that's just a lot of the same type of players, because even our openers, they're not attacking batsmen. They're anchors, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they're anchors.
Rizwan and Babar, you expect them to, like, you know, 20 to, like, you get 40 runs off of like 25 balls. That's the type of hitting that they're mostly accustomed to. You need someone who hits a 10 ball 30 or a 10 ball 25.
An impactful cameo.
And neither Hafiz nor Malik are responsible for those things. They're, again, like you said, anchors. They would hold the wicket on the other end so the other person could go at it.
And the other part of that is that they've also brought in Haider Ali into the team, who has scored phenomenally well.
He's great. I love
the domestic tournament. I'm a huge fan of Haider Ali, but I still feel like he needs a bit more time in the domestic circuit, because he has this inner tape ball batsman into him where he wants to slog a ball that's outside of off stump to mid wicket.
Yeah.
And he oftentimes gets bowled or catch out deep mid wicket because of that. So I feel like he needs more time, but, you know, it's a good decision to bring him into the team. But the question is, like, does he fit into our 11? If he does, he's been performing at number 3 for his domestic team. If he comes at number 3, Hafiz goes at 4, Malik goes at 5, Fakhar at 6, and where does Asif Ali go?
7. But then
you need to have ballers, right?
You need an all-rounder there.
Imad, Hassan, Haris Rauf, Shaheen Afridi. So,
you know, it'll be interesting to see what playing 11 they play for the warm-up games.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a warm-up games against West Indies and South Africa. Yeah. And it'll be good to see what kind of combinations they're trying out. Personally, I've been watching the IPL and I've been kind of looking at for the scores, just because I want to see how the pitches will behave at the World Cup.
Mm-hmm. And because the IPL is played in the UAE right now.
Exactly. And so most of the matches are extremely low scoring, like 150, 140, 160. There's a one-off game that's going 200-ish.
Yeah.
But aside from that, they look like low scoring pitches.
Yeah.
So in that case, maybe you don't need to go hard at every single ball. Maybe you need to like have a lot of more anchors. So Hafiz at 3, Malik at 4, Asif Ali at 5, Fakhar at 6, and then you can go for the all-rounders.
Yeah, that makes sense. But like, do you think that if this is another scenario that I'm very, very hesitant about, is if we lose horribly from India, does that involve another shakeup of the playing 11?
Well,
because we have a history of losing horribly against them.
Yeah, losing against India, it's a high probability, if I'm being very honest with you.
Of course.
We will need to really, like, Pakistan beating India at the World Cup will be an upset.
Yeah.
It's going to be an upset, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the position we're at now.
And oftentimes losing against India can shake up the whole think tank, and you'll see panic just by the amount of changes they'll make in the next match.
Yeah.
So I hope it doesn't happen, but I still feel like Pakistan has a really great chance at going towards the semis. They should beat New Zealand. They should beat Afghanistan, and then the two other teams that will qualify. So 4 out of 5 wins, we should go into the semis.
Yeah. I need a percentage from you about if we're gonna win the World Cup. What's the range? I say it's somewhere between 15 to 20%. We win the World Cup. Is that high?
I think it's reasonable.
Right? 'Cause I think there's a 20% chance that we win it.
Yeah.
That's it. But that's been our case. I don't even remember since when. Except for the 1999 World Cup team, aside from that, every other World Cup team we've ever sent has had a 15 to 20% chance of winning anything. And they have won. Like 92 we won, 2009 we won.
Like I can't remember a tournament that somebody said, oh, Pakistan is favorites to win this. Maybe 99?
99 was one of them. What about 2010? T20.
11? 10.
That was a stacked team.
No, but we were missing Umar Gul.
Except for him, like it was a stacked team. It was basically the same team that went and won the World Cup the year before.
Yeah. But I mean, this is the UAE is Pakistan's backyard.
Yeah.
If you don't win it here, there's hardly any chances of us winning anywhere else. The next World Cup is in Australia. We tend to perform bad there.
Yeah.
So I think this is a perfect chance, a perfect way for Shoab Malik and Hafiz to say farewell to international cricket.
If they decide to say farewell, because we don't even know if they want to do that.
Yeah, what usually happens is
our players don't know when to say goodbye. They usually overstay their visit. That's what I've known. Like we've never had, except for maybe Imran Khan, maybe Afridi, maybe Yunus.
Not even Afridi.
Not even Afridi, yeah. They don't really know when to say goodbye, and they never have like an exit like how like MJ, like Michael Jordan. I'm not comparing their styles of athleticism. I'm just saying MJ had a very celebrated career, and then he ends it with the sixth ring. Yeah, he comes back, and then that's again what Pakistani players tend to do is when they're gone, they'll sprout up at like T20 events, like in the Caribbean or in Bangladesh or in South Africa or whatever. They never really know when to bury the hatchet. Like even right now, I saw is it the T10 team that was T10 squads that were announced, and Afridi was still playing. I'm like, isn't he 41?
But Afridi plans to say farewell at the next PSL.
Okay, see that again. That would be nice to see as well.
Yeah,
a proper farewell, because he hasn't played international cricket since 2016.
Well, he had one more farewell match after that at Lords.
Yeah,
but that was like more of like a fun.
That's what I mean. Like, just end your career at an event like this, and then you can say farewell.
Yeah.
Like how Yunus and Misbah did it in 2015. Okay, it wasn't the most celebrated farewell, but it was a farewell. Inzi did it in 2007.
Yeah, I mean, so our batting looks good. We have the top two highest run scorers in T20Is.
Number 1 and 2.
Number 1 is Rizwan. Number 2 is...
and they're playing 1 and 2 on our sheet as well.
And to be honest, people talk about their strike rates. Their strike rates aren't that bad. Rizwan has scored runs at 140 and Babur at 132.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. I mean, considering if you have Fakhar Zaman and Hafiz and Asif Ali to come in the lower order, that could really help. Hafiz has had a stellar year. He has the most sixes by any Pakistani since 2020. So I think it's post him playing golf where he has just really gone ham. And I remember last year he was like prolific in scoring runs for Pakistan.
He was hitting them everywhere. It was insane. It was beautiful to watch.
Right. And then you have Malik, who has the third highest runs in T20s overall. Lots of experience, can play spin really well. And then Asif Ali, who is a genuine six hitter. He hasn't translated those performances internationally. Like he has no 50s in the 29 T20s that he's played.
Yeah.
But he has the third best strike rate in all of PSL, 164, which shows that he's a impactful player. He just needs to translate those performances internationally.
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to talk about our bowling before we go?
Yeah. I was going to ask you if there's anything we're leaving, and I don't even want to talk about the fielding side of it. I'm just glad that Azam was in on the field. I'm just saying, where do you hide him? I don't know.
I personally think our bowling looks really good.
That's what
Shaheen Afridi can swing the ball up front at high pace.
He's on his prime right now, bro.
He's on his prime. He has the second most wickets in T20s, right? And number 3 is Haris Rauf, who has the third most wickets. And people often give Haris Rauf a lot of slack because,
including me,
because of his economy rate. But you have to realize
2 wickets at 48 runs a piece.
No, you have to realize that he balls in the death, and more recently he's been playing at very difficult grounds. Right, the ground in New Zealand was very small. Johannesburg is a high scoring ground, and then Trent Bridge, Nottingham in England, bro, they scored 220, 230. What do you expect him to go, like 6 and over, 7 and over? You can't. So Haris Rauf is
Haris Rauf stand here.
He has one of the best economies in the death. You got to compare him to Shaheen. You got to compare him to Chris Jordan, Hassan Ali, and to give you a number, he has an economy of 7.78 at the death, compared to Shaheen, whose economy is over 9. So that's just for a reference. He can ball up front. He can be the Umar Gul. He can be the Umar Gul that we needed.
I'm just saying, I'm scared for when there's like 8 runs to defend the last over and we give it to Haris Rauf. That's what I'm scared of.
Because tell me a better option.
We don't have one. But I don't think he's the best.
I think he's in good form. I was watching a few of his spells.
He doesn't open the spell. Who's going to open? It's going to be
Hassan and Shaheen.
There we go.
Shaheen hopefully gets some swing up front, right?
Yeah.
The most wickets in the power play since 2020. Number 1 is Trent Bolt. Number 2 is Mohammad Amir. Number 3 is Shaheen Afridi. And Trent Bolt has not gotten a single wicket in the last 8 overs he's bowled in the power play in the IPL.
Yeah.
Trent Bolt is a great exponent of swing bowling. So if he's not getting wickets in the power play, and that clearly shows that there's probably not a lot of swing on offer.
Yeah.
And which means that Shaheen, and then we also have a good leg spinner, right? Shadab, if he's in form,
and he's a good all rounder too.
He's the best fielder in Pakistan.
It's true,
right? And if you're comparing, if you're having the whole Imad versus Nawaz debate, I personally feel like Nawaz is the better option, just because he has 17 wickets at an economy of 6.93 in the PSL that was happening in the UAE versus Imad, who has 10 wickets at an economy of 7.7.
Okay.
So, and also Mohammad Nawaz is a lot more diverse. He can bowl, and he's
a
more
lefty.
He's more flexible. They're both lefties, but Nawaz can bowl in the power play. He can bowl in the middle overs. He's a genuine spin bowler. The problem versus Imad can only he's only effective if he's bowling the new ball. And if he's bowling the new ball, then either Hassan or Shaheen is missing out.
Yeah.
Also, Imad is not that big of a turner of a ball.
He doesn't turn. He skids them, right?
But here's the news. Right, I feel like Nawaz is a better option, but the team management will probably go with Imad just because of his experience in ICC events, and
I think it's really difficult to have the two of the same exact players. Like literally, they're the same player, and
there's a debate on social media whether they should both be playing.
No. Who's saying that?
Have Nawaz as a batsman just because of the runs he scored domestically, and you can have Imad there as well.
You want you're gonna bowl 8 overs of spin in UAE,
and we have Hafiz.
What are you talking? No,
and we have Malik.
No, Malik's definitely not bowling, but that's a stupid thing. That's a very stupid proposition.
It's stupid 13.
Stupid 13 proposition, bro. Because that's like, I don't know what's happening on social media, anyways. But you wanna end with your playing 11?
Yeah, my possible playing 11. This is it.
Give me your 11. This is against India.
This is against India. I will go with Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, Mohammad Hafiz, Shoab Malik, Asif Ali, Fakhar Zaman,
Ali over Fakhar Zaman.
Asif Ali over both of them.
Okay.
So 1 down Hafiz, 2 down Malik, 3 down Asif Ali, 4 down Fakhar Zaman.
Okay.
And then I will have Shadab. I will have Mohammad Nawaz. I will have Haris Rauf. I will have Hassan Ali, and I will have Shaheen Afridi.
So you're playing both Imad and Nawaz?
No.
You didn't say Imad.
I said Nawaz. I will personally play Nawaz over Imad.
Or Nawaz over Imad. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I agree with your team.
Yeah.
I would play Fakhar over Asif Ali though.
I'm playing both of them.
Yeah, but I would play him over.
Above
him.
Yeah, I think batting order is
that would be
that
situation
you can always,
based, I guess.
Just switch around depending on what the game situation is.
Yeah, that's a pretty good team.
Yeah.
Is it going to win the World Cup? Well, only time will tell. Is it going to beat India? Well, only time will tell. But before we go, I have this last conspiracy theory that the ICC always wants to set up their first game, Pakistan's first game against India, so we literally lose morale. And I mean, you could see it in the T20, this T20 World Cup. You could see it in the 2019 World Cup. That's what they do, and we choke.
It's also a good way to just generate a lot of hype. And
but make that our second game. Why does that have to be our first game?
But it's
especially
also
first game. That's gonna be our first international T20 game this season, basically, because neither England didn't play with us, New Zealand didn't play with us, and our West Indies tour got cancelled.
Okay, but think of it this way: our first game against India is a good opportunity to just do it and get it over with, right? And then you have the next 4 games to focus on. Even if you lose the game against India, you have 4 more games to sort of make a comeback, to learn from the mistakes.
You know how much morale is defeated when that happens, though.
But you can also make a tremendous comeback. If you look at the last Champions Trophy, we lost the first game against India, and then we made a miraculous comeback. We still don't know how we
beat them in the thing, yeah. And right? We don't talk about that because I feel like we will go back in time and change it. So we don't talk about how that happened. We just are glad that it did.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, lot of moving parts, but I feel like we now do have some sort of structure to the 11.
Some direction.
We went from a more aggressive approach to a more stabilizing, calm, experienced approach by bringing back Malik and Sarfaraz, and Fakhar. So, I mean, I also feel like Babar picked this team.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, Imran Khan and Ramiz Raja, they're big advocates of the captain making the decisions.
Yeah.
And I really feel like it was Babar who brought back Fakhar into the 11, the 15, also Sarfaraz, and then Malik in the end as well.
Malik one I'm a bit fishy about, but I would say the other two seem like a very Babar move.
Yeah.
Because I think he would also want experience beside him when he's in tricky situations.
Yeah.
Right? Like when Malik was leading the 2017, he had Yunus and Afridi in.
And Malik is one of the most successful captains in Pakistan history, by the way.
Which is,
he has a phenomenal win percentage.
just subliminally, that stat tore my heart apart. That's true.
And
But-
you also think back, I don't know if you remember, but he has made Sialkot Stallions champions for many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
Many times. That's true. Yeah, I just hope those numbers translate, man. Like people in the domestic and like in PSLs and the domestic leagues across the world play phenomenally, but then when it comes to the green shirts, they kind of choke. I just hope and pray that when push comes to shove, they show up. Thank you guys for coming to the end of this podcast. This has been a wild ride just because of the news that's come out. We will be trying to host a live stream for the Pakistan India game, right? We'll be trying at least. Keep up to that. We'll keep posting news about that as soon as it comes around. We don't know yet how that's going to happen or what the logistics of that is, but we're going to try our best. If you guys have any questions, anything to talk about, you can email us, tweet us, DM us on Instagram. Comment, subscribe, anything. We're receptive to all forms of criticism.
If you agree or disagree with the things that we've said,
yeah, and
please feel free to share.
We did want to do a breakdown of all the squads, but I don't know if we'll have the time to do that. Maybe we'll do another episode just sort of skimming through the rest of the 8 or 9 teams that are selected for the T20 World Cup. I know we definitely wanted to talk about India and Kohli's form, so maybe that's coming soon.
Separate podcast
for that. Man hasn't scored a century in like 3 years, but
2 years.
That's insanity. Different podcast. I guess with hopes and wishes of a great tournament, we bid farewell.
Yeah. This is Bashaar signing off.
This is Nazar signing off, and we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.